Welcome. The meeting is now called to order. This is the Education, Youth, and Family Services Committee meeting for Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. I am the council chair member, Albert Mills at large. At this time, I will call the roll for those committee members first. Councilwoman Latricia Bracy, Vice Chair. Councilwoman Brigida Fields.
Oh, dang.
Councilwoman Brigida Fields.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Xanthia Oliver.
Present.
Councilmember Vincent White.
Present.
And President Ernest Congo. Are there any other council members on Zoom that need to be acknowledged at this time? All right. As a friendly reminder, only members of the committee should be making motions and seconding. And we only have one agenda item today. We have Miss Helen Anderson from the Dual Generation Center is going to come and give a presentation.
I'm good here.
Yes.
Okay. So hi, thank you for having me. My name's Helen Anderson, as you stated, from the Dual Generation Center. We are located at 1100 North Pine Street, which is also Stubbs Early Education Center. We were created in July of 2019 as a part of Governor Carney's original MOU with the Christina School District to ensure that families got their needs met. So we provide, we can go to the next slide. We provide holistic wraparound services and supports to meet the long-term and short-term immediate needs of families at all times. Our goal is to have everything in one central setting where a family is not telling their stories multiple times in order to be able to get the help and assistance that they need for their children. We are looking at creating lifelong learners in students and in parents. We educate both in order to be able to give them what they need in order to be sustainable. Our overarching goal is to address the number of families who are living in impoverished states and the mindset that comes along with it. And so what we do on a daily basis is try to fight for self-sufficiency for our children and for their parents. We can go to the next slide. Our values are to be transformational change agents versus just transactional. We do not have an approach where you fit into a formula. When we meet with families, we work with them to give them what they need in order to be successful, because success is defined by each family a little differently, just as well as family is. So we develop and nurture relationships with our clients. We ensure from the beginning there's expectations set from both sides. There's accountability on both sides. My team will work with a family to give whatever supports or services they need, and I'll go into that a little bit further. And our vision is just to get our families out of poverty in the city of Wilmington so our children can be better learners and ready to go in school. We can go to the next slide. So this is our, these are the services and supports that we offer. So it's family and community support. So we not only support what's happening with individual family members, we also want to work with, of the students of the school, we also work with other people within the community to be able to provide those supports as much as possible. We are housed at Stubbs, so most of what we do happens for Bayard, Bancroft, and Stubbs as a collective for the Christina schools. We do a lot more support probably for the East Side community at this point because of the way our referrals are and where we stand. We help connect to behavioral health services. We have housed and continue to house families who are currently homeless, have been homeless. We work with them to be rental ready, as we would call it. We have transportation services when necessary. We work with different agencies to help with expungement services, social services navigation for families that are struggling with that. We have an employment center where someone can come in and get one-on-one support from our DOL representative She helps with everything from resume writing and interview etiquette to, the personalized, interview prep, learning how to fill out applications, learning how to do some of those, what do you call those? Like the little tests you have to do sometimes when it's time to do job applications, just learning and understanding how to answer those, as well as we connect families to GED. We have a GED program in the building that we have available to our families in the community. We help families go back to college. We help with emergency services like hotel stays. We do have a food pantry. We have the clothing closet there. And then one of the greatest things that we have is our financial counseling piece. So we're teaching our families how to budget. We're teaching our families how to interact with money in a positive way and address some of those barriers that typically stop our families from being able to be housed. We can go to the next slide. We look at the work that we do as poverty disruption, and so we do a lot of that with employment and training. We try to get families to increase their income, so we will send people back to school. We will pay for them to go get a trade. We are able to create different opportunities. We've helped several families create businesses, and we've done that by helping them create either the LLC, getting them connected to loan funding. We address lack within our community by providing educational access wherever we can. So we get tutors for students, we get tutors for the adults when the adults are in school and are struggling with things. We help with different reading programs. We provide books. We connect with different programs to help provide books for at home as well. And then we work within the school community of Stubbs to ensure that those children are getting extra access to different books and reading outcomes. As well as the last thing that we do is make sure that parents are involved. So part of what we do is collect data from each individual family about their children attending school. We want to make sure that children are attending school just so that they can get, of course, everything that they need, but ensuring that parents are being held accountable to show up to different school events. They're getting involved. They're being actively engaged in what's happening. So in order to be a part of the program, you have to attend these different events, and we typically are at those events, so we know, and we try to help parents that way. We can go to the next slide. Some of our initiatives that we run through the Dual Generation Center, one of them, probably our biggest one right now, is the Homeless to Home Ownership Program. We work in partnership with Interfaith Housing to put our families through first-time home buyers class. They go through financial counseling with our coach, and then we work with them to create budgets, make sure that they're saving, and find matching funds where we are able to. We have the dining room table initiative. So for the families that we are able to put in housing, we typically purchase a dining room table so we can bring back some of that family environment. We talk about having your homework time, your dinner time, your talk time, just trying to bring our family, our community family back around the table. The Build Fellowship is one of our bigger programs that is growing as we speak. It is an advocacy program where we are teaching our families how to show up within their school communities, how to show up within their communities to advocate for things that they know that their particular community needs. It's a really intensive program where they learn everything from how to advocate personally for their own family and how to advocate as a whole within their community and engage other people in that advocacy work. We have a landlord risk mitigation. So for some of our families who are the more adverse families who are unable to get a landlord to rent to them, private landlords, we work with private landlords and offer them almost a guarantee of 2 months worth of rent, double security deposits, sometimes it is. We will pay court costs for if the landlord is willing to rent to one of our risk adverse families and continue to work with us. We will cover those fees if our client fails to do their part. If they fail to pay their rent, we will cover it while they go through the court process, and we have covered the fee to charge as well. On the other side of that, we work with our families to provide legal services in case there is a landlord that is not doing their part, not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So we kind of balance it out, but I think our biggest success is working with landlords individually, one-on-one, to ensure that we have positive relationships going both ways. And then we have a shared housing program in which we will sometimes get families together in order to be able to meet short-term goals of not being homeless anymore or in a shelter. They're in a house, they're sharing it until they are able to get stable, and almost a roommate situation is what we set up. We can go to the next slide. And these are some of the courses that we offer to our families. So of course, in order to end any sort of poverty mindset, there has to be some education behind it. So we offer several types of courses to our families. We work with the City of Wilmington, Mr. Willie Patrick, to offer like emergency preparedness. We've offered first aid and CPR to families that need it as well. We teach families how to manage their stress, relationship building. We do everything from how to pay down their debt, how to plan for the unexpected in our lives. One of the big ones that we are doing is like an estate planning for families, but getting them to understand what happens to you if something, what happens to your children if something happens to you. We've had, unfortunately, several families where the parent, the sole parent has passed, and now no one knows where these children are going, and we have families that are being broken up. And so our goal is to keep family within the community as much as possible. We offer, you know, resume writing, as I said earlier. We teach families how to clean their homes. We offer those services. We go and help them learn how to do certain things. If you've never been taught, I think a lot of times people think people should know how to clean their homes, but if you've never been taught how to clean your home, it is actually an education, and we do that. We go in as a team. We show them. We help create chore lists for every age that is in the household, and we hold people accountable by doing home inspections on a monthly basis, and then healthy eating habits and time management. Those are some of the things that we offer out to families. So that is my presentation. I'm not sure if there's any questions.
Well, thank you for your presentation, Ms. Anderson. First of all, let me acknowledge Council Member Brigida Field has joined us. Vice Chair Letitia Basie has joined us, and Council Staff Marcelle Bassanite has joined us as well.
Thank you, Council Chair, Committee Chair.
Yes. But thank you, Ms. Anderson, for your presentation. I do have a few quick questions.
Okay.
One in reference to the example of services that your agency can provide. So if a family needs ID or if their food stamps are cut off, is this the type of assistance that they would get from your program?
Yes, we can. So we help with identifications, birth certificates. We help schedule appointments with Social Security if you need Social Security cards. We pretty much can offer a service to a family if that's what they need in order for their, again, if it is going to help stabilize the family so children will be okay, that is our goal. Okay. So we find the resources. We work with a lot of our local churches in order to be able to provide some of those things that are typically not something that maybe we would normally do or we would think of. We try to find partners to be able to help us do that. Okay. More recently, unfortunately, we've been dealing with a lot of families with domestic violence. So we've always partnered with the City of Wilmington's social workers that handle that to be able to help provide more resources and additional resources, as well as DFS.
Is it the program a one and done? Once they get their needs meet, they're done with the program, or do they continue to be your clients as well?
They will continue to be our clients. We have some clients that started with us in 2019 that we are still following. Many of them are now homeowners, which is awesome. And so that it's the simple thing, right? Like you're a homeowner, something breaks in your house, you might not know who to call, and we help with that. Yeah. So it's not a touch point where we meet with them every week, but we meet with them. If it's someone that's been with us for a long time that is already stable, they make that phone call or we call once every 6 months just to say, hey, just checking in. It's typically about children, right? Like, do your children need anything? Are they struggling anywhere? Do you see, do you see anything going on that you're concerned about? Our goal is to make sure children are good in school. And so whether that's going off to college, whether that's just even trying to make the right choice to get to the next school, right? Like, you know, some schools are better than others, and unfortunately some of our feeder patterns are in that case. And so we have a lot of families that have questions about the choice application. Like, it opened, I think today or yesterday, the choice application opened, and we had so many calls today about, can someone help me figure out the best way? I need to figure out how to fill out this application, and that's just something we will sit down and do with families.
Okay. And my last two questions. The GED program that you guys offer, where is it located, and is it just for folks in the Christina district?
It is not just for folks in the Christina district. If they're working with our program, they are able to get it, and it is literally in our hallway. It's on the second floor of Stubbs. So
Okay.
you come through us to get it.
And during your presentation, you said "we" a lot. We pay for this, we pay for that. Who is this "we"?
So when I say we, I'm normally referencing myself and my staff. We are a state agency. We're part of DHSS, so we got
So
funding
the
from
state is
them.
paying for the hotels, the state is paying for,
No, not everything. So we work with, again, we have our partners within the community. Some of them are faith-based. Some of them are other agencies, like we partner a lot with the YWCA, the STEM program. There are quite a few other smaller organizations that offer us services that we can call and contact. Because, of course, the HSS can't pay for everything.
Committee Chair, I have a question.
yes, proceed.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here, Ms. Anderson. I do have a question, and I might have missed the answer. But what would warrant a person to come to you?
So we work with any of the City of Wilmington schools. Most of their homeless liaisons will send us referrals for families. Some of them are just families within the community. Some are, we do different events. So we will go to some of the events that are outside in the park, the ones that were held by DOJ over the summer. And that's where we meet some of our families as well. We get a lot of referrals from DFS. And wherever people can walk in the door. We have a no wrong door policy. Like what I tell my staff is if they come and we cannot assist, we need to help find that service for them. It is hard for a family to ask for help a lot of times, and it's even harder to keep getting turned away. So that is my goal, to not try to turn people away.
Okay, and how long, follow-up question.
Yes,
How long has this part of the agency been going? Like, how long?
We started July 1st. Well, I started with the agency July 1st, 2019. And so I would say we've been kind of I've been running since about August, I would say. By the time I got my feet in the door, we started doing some community conversations just to figure out what the community felt like needed to be there. More than just social services navigation. That's a small part of what we do. People wanted to be heard. People wanted resources that really meant what they needed, not just, social services.
And do you happen to have like a satellite where you might go somewhere? You might go to a community center when the kids get out of school, and the parents might want to come in. Like for instance, Miss Pridgett, she works at the Rose Hill Center, but she'll go to the Quaker Hill place and sit there with all the paperwork and let the people come in and see what they need help with when it comes to the heating and electric and stuff like that. So I was just wondering if you had maybe like a satellite site.
So we don't really have a satellite site other than where we are at Stubbs, and we're going to be over at Pulaski soon. We're putting that one together. However, we go to the family. Like we do home visits. We meet people where they are. So I literally have gone to the shelter, met families, gone to schools, other schools outside of the schools we work with. Right here in the city, we've gone to several places. So it just depends on the family and what their needs are and how we can better assist. We will do Zoom with a family if that is easier. Like we have a family right now down in Seaford. They had a family member. They're from up here. The children attend school in Brandywine, and they're down in Seaford right now. That's the only place that they could find to stay. And so we did a Zoom with them this morning just to figure out their issues and what we might be able to do to help them. So that's what we do.
Thank you.
thank you. Yes, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. How many families have you served since you've been around?
So we have seen well over 500 families, almost 700 families within our offices.
Follow-up, Mr. Chair. How's that documented?
What do you mean, how's it documented?
Do you report out? Do you report the number of people you served?
Yes.
So tell me about that. I mean, do you send a report in, or what's the mechanism?
We do. So we send a report in. It was monthly, now it's biweekly. We send in our current case management numbers and where we are who we're actually serving. Case management numbers for me look like folks that we are speaking with on a weekly basis. We have some clients we might talk to today and might not speak to them for 2 months, so we don't count them in our active clients in the way that we handle case management. but they are always welcome to come back, because again, sometimes our services are a little much for people, because we do require, if you do not have a high school diploma, we want you to enroll in the GED program, and some families are just not ready for those kinds of conversations. And so we're asking you to better yourself, but if right now I'm on fire, then I'm not worried about GED classes, and we've had families say that. I just want housing, and I don't want you to hold me accountable, but sometimes we're just trying to help people understand $13, $14 an hour in a market where rent is $1,800 for a 3-bedroom is not going to pay your bills. So I'm just trying to help you get to the next steps while we can afford or help to pay. There's different programs to help pay. So when I document each month of what we do, it's a fully encompassed number of, this is how many families have walked through the door, this is how many families are continuing on with services for us.
Follow up.
Yes.
So what makes, it seems, what makes your program different from State Social Service Center or any other entity that from what I hear is trying to do the same thing? Why you and why now?
So I think what makes us most different, and you know, I always have to assess this for myself, is the intensive case management that we provide. We literally sit down with families, fill out applications with them. We literally go to appointments with them. We help schedule those appointments. We are fully ingrained in the family as a whole, not just the adults though. This is for the children too.
And and just so more conversation, is that a point of difference? Are there not other agencies doing this? Are there other agencies doing something similar to that?
I cannot speak to that. Okay. What I can say is that's where we seem to be different from programs that I know of. That intensive piece and how engaged we are when it comes to the education of children.
And another follow-up question, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So are any TANF funds involved with your funding? Temporary assistance for needy families?
There are some TANF funds. More recently, yes.
So I'll put you on the spot, but don't feel as you have to answer the question.
Okay.
Delaware has over $34 million surplus in TANF funds. That's unusual, one of the 3 states in the nation. Okay. And in your professional opinion, why is that? Because that's only TANF, that can only be used for temporary assistance to needy families.
I have no idea.
That's
you just
fine.
told me something. I had no idea. But I'm surely going to go back and ask some questions now, right? Because I have no idea. And I don't know what the funding would be for. I know what our families would be.
My mission is complete.
Yeah.
We have $34 million in surplus.
Okay. That's
Temporary
good to
assistance
know.
needed. And if you would like to follow up with the committee, we'd love to hear something back regarding that conversation. And again, Mr. Chair, not to belabor, I'm going to my last question.
Yes, sir.
Are you working with any other housing providers, such as Wilmington Housing Authority, public housing voucher programs, for assistance in housing this population?
Yes. So we, again, wherever a family is able to go and get approved or at least try to get approved, that's our goal. We print out applications. We take them to return those applications to any property that they believe. We help pay those application fees, which unfortunately are, for some of our families, that's a breaking point, right? Like just doing that. So we are there for that entire part of the process. Whatever it is, we work with Wilmington Housing Authority, we work with the county as well. We work with different programs. Whoever we need to connect with to help support that family, we're going to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No other questions.
Thank you. I do have one more question.
Okay.
I heard you say that you were working with a family the families is residing downstate, but from Wilmington.
Yes.
So if a family is a Christina District family, but they're displaced, they're residing out in Newark in a hotel, what could you provide for that family? Because they're on the books, they're homeless in reference to their attendance, transportation is an issue. How could the family, what kind of assistance could you provide that family?
So right now we work with, like I said, all the LEAs, all the homeless liaisons in the district. So we make sure that the transportation gets set up. We call out issues when we find issues with that. When parents call and say, my child's not getting on the bus. We have a lot of families that have been placed at the Hope Center, and we help get them to and from, back and forth with that as well. So for us, our goal has always been to try to get families housed as quickly as possible. With the housing market that we are in right now, that has become the biggest challenge that we also have, because some of our families, just their history, their rental history is a big barrier. So trying to find ways to knock out arrears and different programs, those different barriers, that's difficult. And that's what we're working on. So it sometimes takes some time. We do what we can to get them into different shelters and different programs that we find out about. We hear of, like there's one landlord that we work with. They typically have rooms for rent in a house. We work with them, and we try our best to get families in those and get those paid for as long as we can get it paid for, a couple months if we can. Not the best solution, of course, for children, but it's better than a family being on the streets or in a motel that is not in the best environment for our kids. So we do what we can do for kids.
So if a family is in need of assistance, would you mind sharing your contact information or where they could reach Adult Generation?
Sure, I guess I didn't put that on the slide. So our phone number is 302-434-6960. And we are located at Stubbs Early Education Center. We are in the back of the building is how our entrance. So if you do get to the front of the building, they're going to actually just come around. So we're in the back. And we are typically there. I'm normally there at work at 7. So typically 8 to Tuesdays and Thursdays is 8 to 8. And the rest of the week is normally 8 to 5, 8 to 5:30.
You don't have to show off.
No, that's not a show off. This is real work, because we don't shut down.
You said 7 o'clock.
No, that's not showing off. I really am at work at 7 o'clock. I mean, only because, again, we meet families where they are. We have families that have to be to work at 8 a.m. but need an appointment, and that's important when you talk about serving people.
Committee job. One more question
Yes.
for you, or maybe more so of a statement. I did hear, he asked you, how did you differ from other agencies? So I was at a breakfast the other day, and they were asking for donations, but you were all funded by the state, right? Or right, so you don't have to really have to go out there and really, really ask for those funds because you're funded through the state, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So, however, no. So there are still funds that even TANF cannot cover for families.
Okay.
So we still get small donations and things like that from, like I said, some of our church partners. Some private folks have said, here's a $10,000 check to be able to support the work, to be able to help with those things that are not usual expenses and cannot be covered under like TANF or any other funds.
But I guess I'm trying to say is your the majority of your funding.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
what I was trying.
We come from there, absolutely.
Just really follow up along the lines of Councilwoman Fields. So you're not a not-for-profit,
We are not.
and you're not LLCC.
No.
And just for clarity, most of your funding is provided by the state of Delaware.
Yes.
But we don't know the extent that TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, is involved with your,
Correct. No.
but we're requesting that information. Thank you.
All right, and I'll make sure you get it.
This is very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
appreciate it. Are there any other questions from council members online?
Oh. Councilmember Bracy has something.
Yes, Councilman Bracy, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask before we end, are there ways in which the city can support your work?
Absolutely. Anything that we can do to get these affordable housing prices down, honestly, is what it is. But if the city wanted to create something like an arrears, a judgment arrears program to kind of help get that down, that would be really great for a lot of our families. I mean, we have families that have, on average, I just ran those numbers. Oh, God. I want to get it right. On average, we're looking at about $9,000, around $9,000 per for a family on average for rental arrears.
Oh, rent-
It's becoming a really horrible situation. Judgments are preventing a lot of families from being housed and housed quickly, or we're housing them with not so great landlords, and then trying to hold that landlord accountable. You know, the license and inspection team has been really great to us, getting out there to help our families. But then there's also the concern of when you call license and inspection, does that then anger a landlord? So we got to be honest about some of what we're dealing with.
It does.
It absolutely does.
33% of African Americans who are renters, once they're in fear of contacting their landlord for repairs,
Yeah.
their rent goes up.
Absolutely.
So we should talk afterwards.
Yes, because it's something that we deal with on a regular basis with our families. So, I mean, if the city can help with trying to help us get some of these arrears down, that would be really awesome. And then, of course, anything we all can do to help support our students' education in the city right now, because that's a big part of why we do what we do and where we're struggling at with a lot of our families. We have families calling saying, my child is not safe in school. I'm not sending them. No, you can't not send them. Right? Like, I need you to send your child to school, but I also, on the other side, I'm a mother, and I know what it's like to think that your child might be walking into an environment that's not safe. So anything you all could do to support those efforts would be awesome.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
And would definitely love to have that conversation in reference to council trying to do something in reference to the rears. I think that would be an excellent plan.
Absolutely.
So
I
city
have a
get-
whole thing written up. I can
Please
provide.
come share. We'll try to see if we can maybe have
All
a
right,
meeting
thank
with the
you all.
chief and President
Thank
Congo
you.
as well. All right,
Thanks
thank
so
you.
much for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for the presentation. All right, that concludes our agenda items for today. And I just wanted to say the next city council meeting is next Thursday, October the 19th, 2023. And the next Education, Youth, and Family Services Committee meeting will be Wednesday, November the 8th, 2023. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It has been properly moved and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Have a good night.